fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Deluxe Class Star Raider Road Pig from the Transformers Legacy United line from Hasbro. So Road Pig is a repaint slash retool of Crashbar. We'll compare the two a little bit later on in the video, but he is part of the Star Raider capsule that is exclusive to Walmart. So if you're looking for this one, it is going to be exclusive to Walmart. I think limited quantities are also available on Hasbro Pulse. I actually had Walmart fulfill my pre-order for this guy. I don't know, Walmart, knock on wood, has been having a pretty good string of actually fulfilling pre-orders recently, so thumbs up. But we have some nice artwork of the vehicle mode here on the front. You have a close-up and a little bit wider shot of the robot mode here on the side. Over here, half of the United mural that we have all the time with that 40th anniversary logo. Not really much going on down the bottom. Just got the Legacy United logo there on the top. Spinning it around to the back, you can see some nice product shots of the robot mode and the vehicle mode. Doesn't look like it's going to be vastly different from Crashbar. I'm guessing probably just a new head, but again, we'll compare them a little bit later on in the video. So I'm going to go ahead and get Road Pig here out of the packaging, and we'll take a closer look. Here is Road Pig out of the packaging. They actually did a pretty good job with this repaint. It is mostly black, but there's a little bit of gold and red, which is always a classic color scheme with black. You even have a little bit of gunmetal gray here for the seat of the motorcycle. Also, I really like the translucent pipes here. I feel like that's definitely a nod to his G2 incarnation. If you're not familiar, Road Pig was a G2 laser cycle, and the gimmick with this little subgroup was that they had translucent weaponry, and that way when you put the little light up next to them, they would glow, which is kind of a cool gimmick back in the day. And so I feel like these translucent pink pieces here are definitely an homage to that. You also have like the entire back of the head being translucent, and I assumed it was supposed to be for light piping, but if you take a quick look at here at the face, his whole like eye area is painted black, and so like really none of the light comes through, but the light will just kind of illuminate the back half of his head. So it's kind of weird in that respect. So not really light piping for the eyes, but it will kind of light up the back of his head. It's kind of weird, but I do really enjoy the little bit of translucent plastic we get there because, again, homage to his G2 incarnation. You also get a fantastic G2 Decepticon symbol there on the inside of the leg, which you'll see a lot more prominently in vehicle mode, as well as Transformers just being printed there, which again, definitely a nod to his G2 motif. So something I've never noticed before, the one leg is definitely longer than the other. I can't believe I've never noticed that with Crashbar before, but that is definitely in full effect here. So he also has these two large guns that are molded in black, and then the front is painted gold, which I think looks really sharp. Getting back to the head, I do like the ninja motif. I think that's kind of cool. Very simplistic, but it does look good. The head is on a ball joint, so you can kind of look up slightly, look down slightly, certainly spin side to side, no problem. Even tilt a little bit side to side, but not too much. The shoulders are on a swivel, kick out to the side with a hinge there. Bicep swivel. Mine's on a mushroom peg, and it does kind of tend to pop off, but you can just push it back on pretty easily. I would say over 90 degrees in the elbow. You have a wrist swivel there as well. You can see the inside of the forearm is painted silver. I'm assuming that's going to come into play in the vehicle mode more so than the robot mode. You have a waist swivel there. You can kick pretty far forward, kick pretty far back, but you do start to have the wheels in the back of the legs hit into these pieces here in the back. Kick pretty far out to the side. You have a swivel right above the knee, mostly because with these Junkion molds, you could take them apart and make your own combinations and stuff. I'm not going to get into that here. I feel like we've seen enough of that. And then you have an ankle tilt. You get a little bit of a knee, but because of those big wheels, it does start to hit into the back. So not too much going on in the knees. But yeah, it's a pretty cool mold. I think they did a pretty good job turning this into Road Pig. Something else that I have to point out, because the directions reminded me and I completely forgot this was even a thing. You can remove this back wheel by just popping these pieces off. You can see they have giant pins here, so they're on hinges. So you can pop this down and then pop the wheel out and then close this back up. And then you can open this up very similar to how the wheels for animated Prowl work and turn this into like a shuriken. And then he can use that as either like an arm shield or just hold it as a weapon, whatever you prefer, but I completely forgot that this mold did that. So that was definitely something I did not remember could happen, and when the directions showed it to me, I was pleasantly surprised. The nice thing too about this is that the holes are different sizes, so you can only put this back in one way. So if you're trying to pop this back in and it's not working, that is why. There we go. Pop that back in there. So yeah, pretty cool. So along with being a G2 laser cycle, you can pair him with Road Rocket, the other G2 laser cycle we got out of the Prime RC mold back in the Velocitron 500 Walmart capsule. So Walmart is really getting through these G2 laser cycles, and it doesn't stop there. We got Jazz, aka Laser Cycle, back in the, I forget what that capsule was called. I'm just going to call it the 90s wave, because everything was 90s toxic, orange Nickelodeon gack and whatever I don't remember what that capsule was called. So at this point, we have 3 out of the 4 G2 laser cycles in these Walmart capsules. So Soundwave, I'm looking at you. You got to be in the next one. We got to complete these, right? I mean, come on. But yeah, it's kind of cool to put these two next to each other. I don't have Jazz on hand. Otherwise, I would pop him in here as well. But I feel like these two always went together. I think these two were released, definitely released in the US, and the other two maybe only saw like a Europe release or no actual release at all. They were just concepts. I honestly don't remember. But so like having these two together is really cool because we actually got these two here. And then Jazz and Soundwave either never happened or only happened in Europe. I can't remember. Feel free to tell me in the comments below. But yeah, nice to reunite these two. I think that's kind of cool. I kind of think this one is a little bit more successful than Road Rocket just because they were able to give us those translucent pieces. I think that's a perfect use for those. And also, I don't know, this still just kind of really feels like RC the way this mold worked out. Whereas this one, I feel like because it was kind of a new no-named character, it can be Road Pig and not feel like it's still the other mold. Whereas when I look at this, I very much still see Prime RC. But either way, it's cool to have these two together here. And we're only one away from completing the G2 laser cycles. Also have to do a quick little group shot here with the rest of the Star Raiders from this Walmart capsule. I know technically Lockdown should be in here as well. I just haven't gotten around to reviewing that one. And I know Thundertron technically should be in here as well. But the one that I have said Prime Universe when I got it, so I'm not counting it. And the new one they've done, I haven't picked up yet. So these are the Star Raiders that I have so far. And they look pretty cool together. Definitely kind of unifying color schemes, very much in the black and gold, and I guess orangish can kind of jump in by associations, kind of close to the red. But yeah, looking pretty cool together. And then before we dive into transformation, I wanted to do a quick comparison with Crashbar here. If you look closely, you can see that pretty much all the molding is exactly the same. It's really just the paint schemes that are different, and the head, of course. But you can see all that detailing there on the chest is the same, just painted differently. The arms are the same, the legs and everything down here. So it's really just the head that's different. Everything else is the same, but still when you put them next to each other, they don't look ridiculously like clones of each other, if that makes sense. I think because of the way they painted this black and a lot of that detail kind of blends in, it actually makes it look a little bit more distinct than Crashbar, where all that detail is highlighted. I know that kind of sounds dumb. It doesn't really make sense to say, oh, we painted it all one color, lost the detail, so now they look different, but it's kind of effective. When you put them next to each other, it doesn't 100% immediately make them look like the same figure, because, you know, the torso can kind of have a little bit of a different shape to it by being all one color, and kind of simulates that old motorcycle, like large, like doesn't have the windscreen hanging down like the old toy did, but you could almost kind of imagine where it would go. Whereas something like this, it seems very apparent that there shouldn't be anything else. I know that kind of doesn't make sense, but I don't know. It's kind of effective. It's a weird optical thing, but it kind of works. All right, getting into Road Pig's transformation, I've gone ahead and removed all of the accessories. You're going to start by taking the head and just pushing it down into the chest cavity, And I'll admit, getting it back out of there is not super easy. You're going to take the hands and you're going to rotate them 180 degrees. So do that. Now, if yours is anything like mine, the mushroom peg will kind of move while you're doing that, so just push it back in. And then you're going to flip them up at the elbow. And these little spikes here kind of serve as a guide to just kind of rest there inside the open fist. So just go ahead and do that. And then you're going to use these joints. And I was looking at these when I first got this out of the box. I think they're molded this way, but they look super warped on mine. So if yours look like mine, I think they're actually just molded that way, so you don't have to panic. But this will flip around. This little kind of nub right here will fit in this little notch right here. So this will come around and kind of lightly click into place. So bring this around and then line that up. And you'll kind of hear like a soft click. So there you go. Now we know why the inside of the forearms are painted silver. It's so that it can be an engine block here in the vehicle mode. At this point, we are going to take the torso and we are going to rotate it 90 degrees so that the chest is now facing to the left. You are going to take the legs and turn them in towards each other at the thigh swivel. You're going to kind of leave this up like that. This section here, you're going to open up the little handlebars so that this has the ability to spin around like so. That can just kind of hang out there for now. Then you're going to move the wheels further down so that you can bring the legs all the way out to the side. And then you can see here that there's like a hinge, and so that these are going to kind of collapse in on themselves a little bit, just like so. And this will kind of lightly click into the crotch area. There's kind of like little nubs, and there's like the tiniest little, let me see if I can get in closer there. Kind of like the tiniest little nub section right there for them to kind of soft tab into. It's not super, you know, tight for a peg in or anything like that, but it just kind of guides it. So do the same over here. Now this does have two tabs right here and here, which are going to tab into the bottom of the elbows or forearms, I guess. So you want to kind of make sure that these are lined up. So that way when this comes in, this can click in there and then tab into these right here and right there. There we go. And I don't know why mine are not being cooperative right this moment, but we'll get it. Maybe I'm tabbing them into the wrong section? I don't think so. Yeah, I must be tabbing them into the wrong section. So this goes like this. And then this just comes down and tabs right in. So yeah, it's the middle section. It's not the outer section. So when you see this, I thought it was this one at first. It's actually the middle section. So that's why it was popping them out to the side. Because I was trying to push it to fill a space it could not fill. All right, at this point, you kind of just bring this down. It just kind of hovers in this area abouts. Just kind of get that about there. At this point, this kind of comes in a little bit to here, and then this foot just hangs out here as like the back of the seat. That's really all we do with that. You're going to take these gold pieces, the guns, and they are going to peg in here and here. And this kind of shores up the whole back area. So line that up and peg those in. It also kind of gives you a nice guide of where to position this back piece because it can kind of move up and down. Once that's done, we will take, I guess I'll move this out of the way still. These will, let me see, there's a little notch here. And so this will kind of peg into the hand and then kind of slide out to the side and fill that little notch. So you can see it sits in that little notch right there while also pegging into the hand. So we'll do that again over on this side. And that way we have that and then kind of position this. And there we go. There is Road Pig in motorcycle mode. Here is Road Pig in motorcycle mode. I think it looks pretty good. I love the Transformers there on the side, and then the absolutely gigantic Decepticon G2 symbol over on this side. I think that's really well done. Again, the color scheme, mostly black, a little bit of red, a little bit of silver, a little bit of gold. Looks pretty sharp. I love the translucent exhaust pipes. I think that works really well. I feel like, and I'm sure it was the same with Crashbar, that the head of the bike here should be a little bit larger since the rest of this, but I think it's fine. I mean, I do like the little Star Raider symbol there on the front. Very tiny, but definitely there. So this thing is kind of serving a dual purpose of being a Star Raider as well as a G2 laser bike homage. And I think it does both pretty well. I mean, definitely leans heavier into the G2, but I'm totally fine with that. Yeah, it's a decent little mold. It looks pretty good in this mode. It would have been nice if they could have put the big windshield on here somehow, made that happen. I understand why they can't, because it would have gotten in the way of the foot/ankle. So even if it was a separate piece that just somehow attached, I don't know how they would have done it, but it would have been great. Even if I couldn't use it in robot mode, I think that would have been fun. But either way, I still think this is pretty good and pretty successful. I actually really like Road Pig a lot. Definitely a lot more than I thought I was going to. I didn't really have a lot of expectations going into this release, and when I first saw pictures, I thought he looked kind of plain, being mostly black. All that detail was being hidden, but now that I have it in hand and I put it next to Crashbar, I can kind of understand why they did it. They wanted to kind of hide some of that detail just to kind of make it look a little bit more like the original toy, but at the same time, by hiding that detail, it makes it look more visually distinct from the original toy. And I know that sounds backwards, but it does kind of work. It kind of makes it so that when you put them next to each other, they don't immediately look like the exact same thing in a different color scheme. And strangely, it works. I think the head sculpt looks pretty good. I love the translucent tailpipe accessories there. Again, harkening back to that laser cycle with the translucent light up weaponry. The color scheme's good. Articulation is the same as Crashbar, but it was fine then, still fine now. I mean, this guy kind of has to perform double duty of, one, being part of the Star Raider capsule, but at the same time being a significant G2 homage. I think he pulls off both pretty nicely, and I'm honestly pretty happy with this. Definitely worth checking out if you were previously thinking of just writing this one off. I think it's worth checking out, especially if you already have Jazz, aka Laser Cycle, and Road Rocket. It's kind of nice to put one more in that collection while also being able to use him with the Star Raiders if you wish. So at this point, I just kind of hope he gets Soundwave. Let's just complete the 4-character Laser Cycle gang here. You can't have just one missing, right, Hasbro? He's got to be coming. Hopefully. We'll see. In any case, I think this guy's a lot of fun. Definitely worth checking out. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thank you so much for watching.